I gotta admit, I have no idea what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing.
It didn't end how I wanted it to. You know, it was very up and down with the winning.
And from the very beginning, from the moment they parted ways with Derek Carr, I started to become a little bit more confused.
A factor on everybody involved. From top to bottom. It's just frustrating. So,
and right when you think that things are about to get a little bit better, they somehow get worse.
Not having him right now is obviously something that I'm not happy with. A huge part of this team and this offense, he's played like the best back in the league last year.
Now, before we get to the content, we're giving away multiple copies of Madden 24. All you have to do to enter is follow me on Twitter and retweet the tweet in the description down below. But in addition to that, we're just going to be posting Madden codes on my Snapchat story and my Instagram story. So there's multiple ways to win. And now that we got all that out of the way, break! Ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is finally back.
That's impossible!
But I'm gonna admit, the preseason is boring as shit. I mean, when the second stringers and third stringers come out, your boy does tend to fall asleep a little bit. But I found a way to make the preseason all the more interesting. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we are back! Posting prize picks on the days that there are significant preseason games. Starting from the Hall of Fame game all the way to the Super Bowl, your boy is going to be making picks on his Instagram story. The picks are free. All you have to do is follow me on Instagram to get them. And if you haven't signed up for prize picks, right now, when you use my promo code microphone, you'll double your deposit up to $100. And thank you, Prize Picks, for the sponsorship. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I've said often on my channel, the best way you could determine a franchise is completely inept is if they constantly change the direction of their franchise. 2 years ago, the Las Vegas Raiders had their most tumultuous season off of the field to date. From the Henry Ruggs tragedy, where Henry Ruggs got behind the wheel of his Corvette with over 2 times the legal blood alcohol concentration and ended up getting into an accident that resulted in the passing of a woman and her dog, which resulted in Henry Ruggs getting jail time and getting released from the Las Vegas Raiders, to Jon Gruden's emails somehow getting leaked to the press. I wonder who did that, but he had to resign as a result of that. All the way to Damon Arnett, the other first-round pick in Henry Ruggs' draft, doing this.
Hey, pull up, lame ass. I swear to God, I will kill you, nigga. On everything I love, I will kill you, nigga. You talking crazy. Somebody that's 5 minutes away. The fuck? Like, I really did kill you, nigga. I real did kill you, man. I will real deal kill you, man. And I ain't the only one here, too, nigga.
But through it all, Derek Carr and Rich Bisaccia were able to step up, and they were both a beacon of light for the Las Vegas Raiders throughout a very tumultuous time. The Raiders experienced the most success that they ever had in the regular season since the 2016 season. You know, the season where Derek Carr looked like an MVP candidate. Derek Carr threw for the most passing yards in his entire career, and as a result, the Raiders decided to reward him with a huge contract extension. I mean, the Raiders were so convinced that Derek Carr was their future that they signed him to a 3-year contract extension and a no trade clause. And they decided to double down on their quarterback. I mean, they really did everything they can to possibly make him happy at this point. After all, Derek Carr got them out of a really bad season with a very favorable result. They traded for Davante Adams, his best friend throughout college, and both Davante Adams and Derek Carr were really excited about this. And they decided to hire Josh McDaniels. The result? Well, Derek Carr had one of his worst seasons to date, throwing for his second lowest completion percentage in his entire career last year, but somehow posting the 4th best QBR of his entire career of 55.5. This resulted in a very awkward final 2 weeks for Derek Carr, as Josh McDaniels decided to bench him for Jarrett Stidham. And then after practically exclaiming to the world that the Raiders were going to move on from Derek Carr and destroying his trade value, the Las Vegas Raiders had no choice but to release him. Now look, I don't want you guys to think that I'm gonna come here and say,
hey, the Las Vegas Raiders made a huge mistake moving on from Derek Carr.
It's not that at all. It's more the way they did it and more the reason why they did it. Because the Raiders were forced to eat a significant amount of Derek Carr's contract in order to move on from Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo, who with all due respect to Jimmy Garoppolo, it's not like Jimmy Garoppolo is a significant improvement over Derek Carr. So going through all of this, just so you could bring in a quarterback who more or less is on the same tier of QB as Derek Carr is, maybe a little bit more consistent and more accurate, of course, just to me was an inept move. If the Raiders did it in a manner where Derek Carr's contract expired and they signed Jimmy Garoppolo instead, I'd be fine with it. So with that being said, I was a little shaky on the fact that the Las Vegas Raiders were moving on from Derek Carr for Jimmy Garoppolo to begin this. And as the offseason continued forward, we got an indication that it doesn't seem like everything is going well in Las Vegas. I mean, the very first report we got was back in May, and this has since been walked back, but we remember when Davante Adams said he doesn't see eye to eye with the Raiders on their vision for the offense, saying the front office thinks it's the best bet for us right now to put us in a position to be urgent, and we don't see eye to eye on what we think is best for now. Davante Adams also said ultimately it depends on the style of football that we play with Jimmy Garoppolo as the starting quarterback. If we play a certain brand of football, I can get Jimmy Garoppolo to conform to or whatever, but if we use him a certain type of way, then it's going to make it tough for us to maximize who we should be this year.
And I'm moving around like crazy, bro. Like this learning, like it feel like college again, because this offense is like got to be the most complex in the league.
Everybody that went to New England would say that, bro.
Empty sets. It was like 11, 12 empty sets.
So I'm damn near unlearning a bunch of shit. And then, you know what I'm saying?
I was in it for 2 years up there, but it is ridiculous.
It is. It's
but
a lot.
You're everywhere.
Yeah.
And the concepts are crazy.
But they good, though. Nah, it's a beast, and it's not for, like, they can't just bring just talent in here. You got to be talented and smart.
Right.
Otherwise, like, especially if it's, like, late, if they bring somebody in right now, you got to be a genius to catch on and be, you know what I'm saying? Especially, like, and they give me more leeway, and I pride myself on being, like really my football acumen is, like, one of my, best traits. So when it comes to like learning it, and I study it, you know what I mean? Just because I'm not gonna be the one that's out there looking crazy. I know every single spot, and then the formations is crazy because they got a formation name, and then they got a code words for every single formation.
Now, again, this would ultimately get walked back by Davante Adams saying that he is very happy to be on the Las Vegas Raiders. But historically, Davante Adams has been a very professional guy. I didn't really think this was that big of a deal. Hell, when we saw this ridiculous rumor that Davante Adams may demand a trade to the New York Jets, there's a reason why I didn't even make a video on it, because it's quite literally impossible for Davante Adams to join the New York Jets. But of course, Tony Pauline came out and said the rumors that Raiders wide receiver Davante Adams is unhappy in Vegas and wants to go to the Jets are complete garbage. It would have been cool to see Adams back with Rodgers, but this makes sense. It's always been Davante's dream to play for his childhood team, the Raiders. I don't think it necessarily has to do with that. I think it has more to do with the fact that the New York Jets are loaded at the wide receiver position already, and they won't be able to take on Davante Adams' salary at this point. Davante Adams essentially chose the money over trying to compete, and I don't resent him for it. I mean, the amount of money that Davante Adams got to be a member of the Las Vegas Raiders is astounding, and his quarterback was going to be his former college QB that he has a great relationship with. Fortunately, it just turned out this way, and now Davante Adams kind of is on a rebuilding team, or on a team that isn't the most competitive team in their division. Now, there are some bright spots for the Raiders, don't get me wrong. They had the leading rusher in the NFL last year in Josh Jacobs, but there's a brand new problem. While we have been discussing the Jonathan Taylor situation at nauseum on this channel, it seems like Josh Jacobs is in a situation himself here. You see, last year, the Las Vegas Raiders did something that was very stupid. They already had Josh Jacobs on what could have been a 5-year contract. It was a 4-year contract with a 5th-year option. Anyone that is drafted in the first round of the NFL draft gets this option. And the new strategy has been to draft running backs in the first round of the NFL draft, keep them there for 5 years, and then if they still perform, franchise tag them for a year or two, and then let them go. The Raiders kinda did that. They drafted Josh Jacobs in the first round of the NFL draft, but they decided to decline his player option. And going into last season, there were a lot of questions about whether or not Josh Jacobs was going to be on the Raiders for the foreseeable future, and whether he was going to be a part of their offense. And boy, was he part of their offense. Josh Jacobs had 340 rushing attempts for over 1,600 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, and 97 yards per game, the most of his career. So the Raiders kind of messed up here, because because instead of already having him under contract for an additional season, they now had Josh Jacobs in a situation where he was a free agent. So they decided to franchise tag him. Now, we all know running backs aren't really happy about this situation. They're frustrated about the fact that they could put together career seasons and yet not get long-term contract extensions, except in the case of Saquon Barkley, who got a 3-year, $36 million extension offered to him, which he declined for some reason because he wanted more money. And then the Giants eventually just franchise tagged him for a year, and then they decided to sign him to a 1-year contract extension, so he had no choice but to report to camp. So Josh Jacobs doesn't necessarily know how to feel about this, and so far he hasn't reported to camp. So now the Raiders were thinking,
hey, you know what we could do to get Josh Jacobs to return to camp? We could rescind his franchise tag.
So if they rescind his franchise tag, Josh Jacobs becomes a free agent. They don't even get the opportunity to trade him. He just leaves at that point. And if Josh Jacobs becomes a free agent, the suitors that are available for him are quite literally Josh Jacobs' division rivals. Now, I just want to point something out. There is a chance that Josh Jacobs' agent is coming out and saying,
hey, if you cut us, we're just going to go to the Chiefs or the Broncos.
Because that sounds like a brilliant play to instill fear in the Raiders. But here's the report. Chiefs, Broncos among potential suitors if the Raiders rescind Josh Jacobs' tag. Nearly 3 weeks after the window closed on a long-term deal and nearly 2 weeks after the Raiders opened camp without running back Josh Jacobs, nothing is happening between the player and team on a potential 1-year deal. The options are limited at this point. 1, Josh Jacobs accepts $10.1 million for 1 season. 2, Jacobs and the Raiders work out an enhanced deal with more money and or a promise that he won't be tagged in 2024. 3, Josh Jacobs skips all or part of the regular season. 4, the Raiders trade Jacobs in his 1-year deal. And 5, the Raiders rescind the franchise tender and he becomes a free agent. I think 5 is the least likely, but Florio still gives us an insight about what that would look like. Option 5 could still happen, whether the goal is to get the fans/media on board or to persuade owner Mark Davis that it's the right move to pocket $10.1 million and move on. The Raiders quite possibly are setting the table to plausibly say, well, we've tried everything, let's let him go. Jacobs, we're told, is aware of the possibility and is unconcerned about it. He knows that $10.1 million won't be there if he's suddenly a free agent in late August or early September, but he would still have a plan. He would be inclined to take the best deal he could get from a contending team, starting with the Chiefs. Per a source with knowledge of the situation, the Chiefs and Broncos are among the teams interested in Jacobs, and while the Broncos could be a considerable way from contender status, they'd be an option at the right price. Although I don't think Josh Jacobs would still get the volume that he would have gotten as a member of the Las Vegas Raiders, because the Denver Broncos have Javonte Williams currently as their starting running back. Now, regardless, Jacobs' strategy is driven not by maximizing his pay in 2023, but by standing on principle. He continues to be upset that the Raiders failed to pick up his 5th-year option and then failed to make him a meaningful offer on a long-term deal after applying a franchise tag. The overriding vibe from the Raiders to Jacobs is that they want to go year to year under the tag, keeping him up to 2 more seasons before he's left to hit the open market with 6 seasons of NFL wear and tear. So in terms of running backs, man, I think this is going to be the new norm. I feel like they're going to get tagged year after year after year and then hit free agency, and that's just what it's going to be until they could diversify their skill set. And I do think it sucks, but that's just how the market works. I mean, tight ends used to be in this position until tight ends like Jason Witten and Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce established themselves as key parts of very important offenses. And that's just how the market is. Christian McCaffrey got a huge contract extension because he has a very diverse skill set as a receiver and as a traditional running back. Ezekiel Elliott's contract extension, in my opinion, was very premature, so he kind of took advantage of Jerry Jones a little bit, in my opinion, but Ezekiel Elliott also had the skill set to be a really good pass blocker. Now, in this case, it seems like Davante Adams, once again, isn't happy that one of the best offensive weapons for the Raiders isn't at camp. Watch.
I mean, you see the way we like to play the game. We like to run the ball. You know, you got to have somebody back there that's a dog if you're going to give it to them, you know, over 300 times. So, you know, not having him right now is obviously something that I'm not happy with. But, you know, we got to keep it going as a team until we figure out that piece. But obviously he's a huge part of this team and this offense. He's a really good leader. And obviously he played like the best back in the league last year, which you ask me, he is the best back in the league. So, You know, it's tough not having him at this part of the, you know, training period, trying to get ready for the season. But, you know, we'll see what happens down the line. But definitely a big part of this team, you know, in the past. So hopefully we can figure something out.
So it seems like things are a huge mess for the Raiders, and I will admit, letting Josh Jacobs go and sign with the Kansas City Chiefs and getting absolutely nothing in return would be one of the most inept moves I think I've ever seen a front office make. And they've made a lot of inept moves so far, but at the very minimum, if you want to move on from Josh Jacobs, which they've handled his situation horribly, I give them an F for the way they handled it. First, by not picking up his fifth-year option when they just should have done that, considering that he was a first-round running back, and then by even considering rescinding the tag and making him a free agent during this stage of the NFL offseason. It just doesn't seem like a good move for an organization to make. But Raiders fans, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike. I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.